All right. We'll be reconvening the meeting at this time, so if you would please stand for the pledge. All right, thanks everyone for coming. We will get started right away with approving the meeting minutes for June 2nd and June 12th of this year, as well as tonight's agenda. We'll start with tonight's agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda for tonight as presented? Tim, thank you. A second? Deb, thank you. Any discussion on tonight's agenda? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Next, I will need a motion to approve the meeting minutes for June 2nd. Jeremy, do I have a second? Carla, any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, very good. And last, I need a motion to approve the meeting minutes for June 12th. Tim, thank you. Second. Jeremy, very good. Any discussion? I will be abstaining just because I was not at that meeting. All in favor? Any opposed? Anyone abstaining? All right, very good, thanks. Next up for tonight will be board recognition, and as usual, I'll turn it over to Jeremy.
Good evening. The board is pleased to acknowledge our track athletes this week. Both the boys and girls teams repeated as Wayne Finger Lakes Division I champions this year. Several members of the Wayne track team competed at the state meet. Adeline Runkle placed 9th in the state Division II with her highest point total of the season. The boys 4x800 meter relay team, James Light, Kyle Gallo, Mike Houlihan, and Dan Cole placed 6th in the state Division II, medaling and earning a place on the podium. In doing so, they shattered their previous school record by 7 seconds. Congratulations to all the track athletes. We'd like to invite Coach Burley up to accept a recognition award for the track team from Phil.
I hope these aren't coming out of the board budget. I'm lost now. All right. now we're down to the meat of tonight. We will be moving into the staff retirement reception, which is why we're all here. So we will start with Deb. I think we'll have you.
Okay, I have two to read for you tonight. First up, I have Mr. Harold Bailey. Coming up, and I'll talk about you, Harold. Mr. Harold Bailey, he loves to fish. He loves to go out to breakfast with his co-workers. Church is a very big part of Harold's life. He's always positive, he loves his family, and he's proud of them. Memorable moments was being honored at OE Smile Day Assembly, which I think is completely appropriate because this smile is always on this man's face. It doesn't matter what time of day it is, it doesn't matter what the weather is, he's got a smile on his face. His special qualities, he's hardworking, he's kind, he's got a heart of gold, makes everyone smile around him. He will definitely leave a hole in OE's family when he retires, and he hopes to retire someplace warmer called Florida. Thank you, Harold.
Thank you.
Make sure I got the right one for you. Yep, there you go. This one. Thank you.
Yeah, thank everyone.
The next one was a teacher of mine in 1980-something. Gwen Hoffman, if you could come up with me.
It's fair many faces I have here.
Yes. And she had my son as well. Gwen Hoffman retires after 32 years of employment at Wayne Central School District. Before class, Gwen was often seen in the hall or in her doorway welcoming students into her room. It was easy to see that connecting with her students was her first priority. Gwen felt it was an essential element in becoming an important teacher in her students' lives. It was because of this approach that students felt valued and safe within her classroom. This positive classroom environment not only encouraged students' desire to learn, it fostered their sense of belonging. I feel like I should be reading this in Spanish, but students under her charge quickly learned to look for a Spanish birthday card, a free homework pass once they were in class with Mrs. Hoffman. For the many years Mrs. Hoffman served as chairperson of the Wayne Teacher Association Citizenship Award, she facilitated the voting process within James A. Benaway High School, as well as coordinating the submission of names for the plaques from the other schools. Mrs. Hoffman mentioned that submitting the names of so many worthy students within our building was a role she enjoyed immensely. Another role she enjoyed greatly was that of the sophomore class advisor. As sophomore class advisor, she is proud of the class of 2015's community service project to help renovate the Dickinson Road Cemetery. Mrs. Hoffman will spend retirement in the company of her husband and 2 adult daughters, enjoying her beloved Buffalo Sabres.
It is.
Thank you. Here you go.
I have the pleasure of inviting Diane Lascelle. Diane's 13 years of service here at Wayne Central on the cleaning crew. She loves to play at the local casinos. Special qualities, always very friendly, willing to help anyone. Loves her family and was proud of them all. Enjoys watching her granddaughter play soccer at both school and at tournaments. And she'll be missed by everyone that she works with in her department. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And my next person is Lee Stromanine, and I don't know, there she is. I didn't see her come in. Lee's 28 years as our district treasurer. She enjoys snowmobiling with her husband and spending time at her family's camp. Co-produced high school musicals Beauty and the Beast and Bye Bye Birdie with her sister Lori. Lee has sponsored numerous fundraising events to help community organizations such as Pines of Peace and the Weisenrader Fund. Lee is an excellent vocalist who performs in local choral group LED. In additional recognitions, Lee is a 1970 graduate of Wayne Central who came back to serve her alma mater for 28 years as the district treasurer. She has also served as the middle school extra classroom treasurer since 2001-2002 school year. And Lee is also a new grandmother recently.
Once again, yes. 4 days old.
Thank you very much for your service. Hey, this is for you.
Lee, we were actually looking at your yearbook today in the district office. It's on the counter down there. I have the pleasure of recognizing Penny Morris tonight. Is Penny here? Penny has been with the district for 18 years, and with Penny, her family has always come first. She liked very much to babysit her granddaughter, but she always came to work with a positive attitude and was liked with everyone she worked with. There were many times during the year when people were vacant or were not here, when Penny would fill in, and she always did that with a smile and a very positive attitude. So her efforts on behalf of keeping our buildings clean will be very, very much appreciated. Thank you, Penny. I also have the pleasure of recognizing Sylvia Hungerford, and while she may look a lot younger than I, we were actually colleagues at one time. Sylvia, come on up. Sylvia has been with the district for 28 years. She started working at Wayne in 1979. She has 2 master's degrees, 4 areas of certification, but now as she nears retirement, she's doing what everybody our age probably should do. She's taking up running. She just recently completed a half marathon, the Disney Princess, in 2013. In addition to that, she's also been taking advantage of her musical experience, and she recently was in a pit band directed by her brother. She's also played at the Freewell School for some of the students. She started in 1986 at the middle school in a self-contained classroom and has been working with our CSE students ever since, and we certainly are going to miss Sylvia. Thank you, Sylvia.
I'm here to recognize Linda Dellis. Is she here? Thank you. Linda has a love of her family, and she's been very proud of them. She's going to have lots of time to be a big Yankee fan, yes, and likes country music. Thank you for your 13 years of service.
Thank you.
Anybody who's a Yankees fan is proud of mine.
I would like to recognize Carol Hurley. Unfortunately, she couldn't be in attendance tonight. Carol's worked 34 years with the district. She was hired as an aide at OP in 1980 and worked all 34 years at OP. Her extracurricular activities were she was part of the social committee, the building planning team, and the interview committee. Her memorable moments were watching children grow and learn and becoming lifelong learners. Her accomplishments and awards were patience, tolerance, and computer skills. And this time I'd like to recognize Carol Hurley. At this time, I would like to call up Gail McAndrew. I had the pleasure of having my son had Ms. McAndrew for his teacher this year, and she helped him along greatly. Thank you. She's been 24 years at Wayne Central School District, 30 years total in education. She's been a team leader in the middle school, science department chair in the middle school, part of the professional development team and the building planning teams. Her accomplishments were Teacher of the Month in the middle school and Staff of the Month at OE. Her special qualities are positive attitude, passion for learning, a quirky sense of humor, and a love of science. Thank you for all you've done for our students. Richard, thank you.
I'm going to adjust it for you and me, Carl. I'd like to recognize Peggy Fulkerson. Hi, congratulations. Thank you. Peggy has been with the district for almost 17 years. Some of her favorite things to do are sharing stories about her family and the Red Hat Society friends, quilting, sometimes with coworkers, and scrapbooking. I've always wanted to learn more about that Red Hat Society. Accomplishments and awards. Peggy worked in transportation for 9 years in Connecticut before joining Wayne Central, and she has an associate's degree in accounting. Special qualities. Peggy has an infectious laugh and was always willing to help others, offer advice, and be involved in activities at the bus garage. Throughout her career at Wayne Central, Peggy drove her bus run without being involved in a preventable motor vehicle accident. She always put the safety of her students first and provided a high level of customer service in accommodating the needs of her students and parents. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Next, I'd like to recognize Kathy Walker. Congratulations. Kathy has been with Wayne for 13 years as a reading specialist. Prior to her years at Wayne, she served as a special education teacher and an elementary teacher for other districts. Mrs. Walker has a passion for teaching and has been truly committed to supporting literacy across content areas in our middle school. She has shared a wealth of knowledge with staff and been a mentor to reading specialists in our school. Mrs. Walker has made many contributions during her years at the middle school as a participant on the building planning team, an advisor to the school newspaper Eagle Eye View, and a member of the WTA Scholarship Committee, and maintaining the Student of the Week Bulletin Board for the past 12 years. In addition, she has chaperoned many school events, supports our 8th grade convocation, and our Red Ribbon Activity Night. Mrs. Walker is the utmost professional who is very caring, dedicated, and genuinely respected by all members of our school community. She will be greatly missed, and we wish her the best in her retirement years and know that she looks forward to spending more time with her grandson. Congratulations. Thank you.
Good evening. I have the privilege of honoring Russ Harris. Is Russ here tonight? He's behind the wall. Russ embedded his talents into all areas of Wayne Central. He was very involved in providing technology support for special events, PAC events, and celebrations, graduation, concerts, and community performances. His expertise in the auditorium and television studio in sound and video was exemplar, and he shared his talents with students as a mentor in all things technology in the high school. He ventured on many senior trips as a chaperone, and was also the media club advisor for many years. He was much more than an IT guy. He made himself available for teachers and students at any time, any place, and on any given day. Maybe I'll have to call you. Students and their success always came first for Russ. He will truly be missed by everyone here at Wayne Central, especially his colleagues in the tech department. I just want to ask Russ, you retired, how is it? Is it everything you dreamed of?
It's great.
Congratulations, Russ. And I also have the privilege of honoring Maxine Grumley. Now, there's a little background about Maxine. This year, I have a little first grader in my building where I work in Pittsford, and this lady came to pick this little girl up. I don't know how many times this year. It's Krista Soroi's little girl. So I got to see Maxine probably at least once a week, and somehow we figured it out that she works at Wayne, and I'm on the board at Wayne, and we have this little child that we care for. So I got to know her a little bit this year, so it's a little extra special to honor her tonight. Maxine's been here 16 years. She was a Kodak employee prior to working for Wayne Central. She has found that working with children in the educational field to be heartwarming, rewarding, and every day is different, and provides her with an opportunity to make a positive difference in our students' lives. Maxine has generously volunteered to support a variety of student events such as the Commended Breakfast, school dances, field trips, and extracurricular activities. She has a great sense of humor and is a genuinely kind person. Maxine has been a strong advocate for special ed students and is particularly knowledgeable of supporting visually impaired students, and is very resourceful in sharing information and resources to support individual needs of students. Maxine will be sincerely missed at the middle school by students and colleagues alike. She is looking forward to celebrating her retirement years with her twin sister, who recently retired and has relocated to this area to be with Maxine. Congratulations, love. Congratulations. Here you go. Good luck to you. Since I'm last on the list, can the retirees stand one more time so we can give them all a nice round of applause, please?
All right, thank you everyone for joining us for that. Next up is cake, and we'll take 10, 15 minutes, or however long it takes to corral everyone back here. So take a break, have some cake, and enjoy it. Thank you.
Can we have the retirees just go back by the cake? I'd like a group shot of you all. Thank you.
All right, we're going to get this thing started, folks. Within minutes. Yep. Thanks again, everybody, for helping us celebrate. We will reconvene our meeting at this time. All right, so the next item on tonight's agenda is public comment. Seems like a whole bunch of people here that I don't recognize their faces, so I'll go over some of the rules again. Public comment, the first public comment is limited to items that are on tonight's agenda. Each speaker, we ask that you kindly come up to the front microphone here, state your name and address for our clerk. Each speaker gets 3 minutes, and we have a total of 15 minutes for public comment. If anyone comes up and they're new to this, I will give you a gentle reminder at about 2.5 minutes that your time is approaching being done. We do ask that we still don't use names. We don't want to be derogative towards anybody. If anybody has comments for the board, we would love to hear them, but we certainly don't want to talk negatively about any other community members, staff, so on and so forth. So we ask you to refrain from using names and titles. So with that being said, I will open up public comment. Okay, very good, thank you. On to the next. It was the easiest one ever. Next item on tonight's agenda is board member comments, and I will open the floor to board members.
Within the past 2 weeks, Business First has been rating school districts across Western and upstate New York. 2 weeks ago, we announced with a great deal of pride that Ontario Elementary had ranked 41st and Freewell had ranked 48 out of 159 elementary schools. We have some additional rankings to celebrate tonight. Our middle school ranked 11th out of 97 middle schools in the Rochester region. Our high school ranked 20th out of 85 high schools in the Rochester region. And when they combined all of the scores of the elementary, the middle school, and the high school, using 88 different indicators of quality, Wayne Central ranked 13th out of 67 school districts in the Rochester area.
I'd just like to make a comment about within the last week, Mr. Miller, myself, and Mr. LaRouche met with Marla Iverson from BOCES, and we were talking about planning our district, or our board retreat, which is going to be held on July 14th and 15th from 6 to 9 in the chorus room. The plans we had were going to talk about reviewing our board norms, working on a board handbook that Karen did a lot of work on. In the spring, we're going to work on that, and then setting the district goals. So that's what our goals will be for the board retreat this year.
I just wanted to say thank you to Mr. Pullen, Mr. LaRouche. Fantastic job both speaking and singing at graduation on Saturday. It was a beautiful day, under 2 hours too, which was impressive. My second comment is, as everybody knows, this is my last meeting, and I just have some thoughts I wanted to share with everybody, so just be patient. I wrote this out earlier today. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the administrators and all the board members I've worked with over the last 3 years. This experience has been rewarding and challenging, to say the least. As you go forward, I'd like to ask the 9 board members, including Mr. Landry and Mrs. Pendleton, to keep a few things in mind. Remember that the students must always come first, before your own agendas, before the opinions of any Facebook page, and before politics in general. Agree to disagree respectfully, and whenever possible, put your egos aside and work hard to reach consensus. If you let the principle, what is best for our students, be your guide, then decisions should come easier and agreeable to all. Secondly, this board has outspent past boards by several $1,000s, most of which was unbudgeted money, and none of which had a direct impact on our students. Expensive initiatives such as Let's Talk should be scrutinized for a cost to benefit to students ratio. Risks involved need to be carefully considered. Start with a goal and ask if this expenditure will actually meet that goal. Before undertaking such projects, ask the superintendent to gather opinions from the administrative team and the collective bargaining units, and even consider getting feedback from the students themselves. A, quote, good idea, or thinking you, quote, know what is best, isn't a good enough reason to move forward with something. And lastly, if it is not in the current budget, consider waiting and adding it to the next budget so the taxpayers have a say in the spending. Don't ever be satisfied. There's always room for academic improvement. Set achievable goals for the superintendent, the administrative team, and teachers with clear expectations, and let our amazing administrators and teachers continue to do their jobs without distractions. Watch them take our students to new heights. There will always be distractions in any school district, and your challenge will be to not allow little distractions to become big ones, and to not allow them to continue to impact our students and staff. Providing a safe and positive culture in our hallways for students and staff needs to be a priority, and continued distractions and not dealing with them efficiently will only make that goal harder to reach. I will continue to attend and at times participate in school board meetings. I will just be using a different microphone. I will continue to be engaged with what is happening within the district, and I have no reason to think that the 9 board members this community has elected will not do an outstanding job. I would be happy to offer an opinion or thoughts on a particular topic should anyone feel the need to ask, though I am looking forward to spending more time as a wife and a mom, working more hours and actually getting paid for them, getting more sleep, having less stress, and watching more of my kids' soccer and lacrosse games. Thanks to everyone I served with and for helping me on this journey. I leave knowing that our students are in good hands. Wayne has and will continue to provide our students a world-class education, and it will continue to be the best by any measure. Thanks.
Board members, which is a perfect introduction for board president comments. I'm going to take a moment to say thanks and goodbye to Deb. It's been a long year for all the board members. My relationship with Deb started way back when we were in high school together, and we were friends then. As a matter of fact, our mutual friendships took us to, we were both in a wedding of a mutual friend, I'd like to say a couple of years ago, but it was probably like 100. Deb and I have always maintained some form of a friendship since high school, although there seemed to be some times when we didn't see each other for many years. But when I got an opportunity to run for the board and then be on the board, I really formed a stronger relationship with Deb. Now, I will say this. Everybody knows that there are always conflicts on the board, and Deb and I are no different. We have famously gotten along, and we have famously not agreed. But nonetheless, the friendship lasts, and that's what matters. And it has been an honor and a pleasure to work with Deb. And although she is leaving the board, I suspect that I will always be bouncing ideas and opinions off of her. So on that note, I have we, the board, has a certificate for Deb in appreciation for her time on the board, and most importantly for the time she has spent serving our district, the staff, and the students. So thank you very much, Deb. And then last, unfortunately, Dom couldn't be here with us. But I will just quickly say about Dom. Again, Dom and I served in the police department together. So, you know, Dom likes to use the term that we're brothers in blue. But that is the reality. And likewise with Dom, Dom was a real rock for me, especially as a new board member and a new president. I was able to bounce things off of him when I needed to. And again, just like any other of the 8 board members, we sometimes got along and sometimes did not agree. But in the end, friendships last. And so I would also, we have a plaque from the board for Dom as well. He's not here to receive it. We will make sure that he gets it. But I also would like to say thanks to Dom. All right. Next item on tonight's agenda is personnel action. But first, I will need a motion to amend tonight's personnel action. We will be adding 2 resolutions to the action. Can I get a motion to add the resolutions? Jeremy, thank you. Second, Ron. Is there any discussion on the resolutions we're adding? I will only say that out of fairness to everybody for these resolutions, I will read them, because we're just adding them now to the personnel. Excuse me. And after each one of them, I will also be reading a short public statement from the board. So please bear with me. Okay, first resolution is resolution to approve and accept the resignation of the superintendent of schools and approve the separation agreement between the district and the superintendent, Renee Garrett. Be it resolved that the board hereby approves and accepts the resignation of Renee Garrett from her employment as superintendent of schools dated June 26, 2014, to become effective June 30th, 2014. And be it further resolved that the board accepts the separation agreement between the district and Ms. Garrett and authorizes the board president to execute the separation agreement on behalf of the board and file it with the district clerk. That's our first resolution. Our public statement from the board on that is that the Board of Education of Wayne Central School District and Renee Garrett announced that the parties have entered into a separation agreement under which Ms. Garrett is resigning as superintendent of schools effective June 30th, 2014. The Board of Education wishes to thank Mr. LaRouche for serving as acting superintendent of the schools. The board plans to hire an interim superintendent of schools for a period of time while it searches for a new superintendent. In the meantime, the dedicated administrators and teachers will ensure that our students shall continue to receive a quality education here at the Wayne Central School District. Second resolution is the resolution for approval of agreement for services as interim superintendent. Whereas the Board of Education desires to hire an interim superintendent of schools for the district so as to assist in the efficient operation of the district while the board begins its process of searching for and retaining a new superintendent of schools, and whereas the board has determined that John Carl Avati possesses the necessary qualifications and experience to carry out such responsibilities, and Mr. Calvarati agrees to serve in such capacity in accordance with the written agreement between the board and Mr. Calvarati. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby appoints John Calvarati as interim superintendent for the district for the term of July 7th, 2014 through June 30th, 2015, or such other date as may be determined by the parties. Be it further resolved that the board hereby approves and adopts the written agreement for interim superintendent services, which provides for the benefits, salary, and other terms and conditions as are contained therein, and authorizes the president of the board, or in his absence, the vice president of the board, to execute same on behalf of the board and to file it with the district clerk. And last, our public statement regarding our interim superintendent is that the Board of Education of Wayne Central School District is pleased to announce that John D. Carlovati, an experienced, successful, and well-respected school administrator from this area, has indicated his availability and his desire to serve as the district's interim superintendent of schools. He will serve in this capacity from 2014-2015 school year while the Board of Education searches and transitions to a new superintendent of schools. Mr. Carl Avati taught school in the Rochester City School District for 15 years. He served as a school building administrator in Newark, Greece, and Webster school districts over a 10-year period. As an assistant and then deputy superintendent for the Webster School District for 6 years, and retired from the position of superintendent of schools in Penfield after 4 years. While superintendent of schools at Penfield, 3 of the 4 elementary schools of the district ranked in the top 10 New York State. 1 was identified as a blue ribbon school, and the middle school was identified as a school to watch. We are confident that Mr. Calvarati will provide the district with both stability and sound leadership during this transition period. With his guidance, the efforts of our dedicated administrators and teachers, and the support of the community, we will continue to provide our students with a quality education. All right, so in case we forgot where we are, all in favor of adding the 2 resolutions to tonight's personnel action? Any opposed? Very good. Then I will need a motion to approve the items on the amended personnel action. Jeremy, thank you. Second. Ron, thank you. Any further discussion on personnel action? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Next item on tonight's agenda is the CSE-CPSE recommendation. I need a motion to approve the CSE-CPSE recommendations. Matt, thank you. Do I have a second? Karen, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the items on tonight's consent agenda? Carla? Second, Karen? Any discussion on the consent agenda? The only thing I'm going to ask real quick is, Greg, I know that we had briefly discussed the budget transfer, which is number 9 on the agenda. Could you review that just a little bit for us?
Yes, on tonight's agenda, item number 9 is the approval of a budget transfer. We're asking the board to approve transferring some funds into the Operations and Maintenance Repair Code. We would like to, we want to wash, restripe, and renumber the all-weather track. And so we have a quote from Nagel, who is the vendor that installed the all-weather track for us, to perform that service. And it's, you have to do the maintenance on the track every so often, and this is the first time we've done it since the installation. So we're asking you to approve the required funds to perform that service.
Very good. All right, thanks. And Kathy, if you could, there's a couple gifts there on the consent agenda. Could you please send thank you? All right. Any more discussion on the consent agenda? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, that brings us to our second public comment. Rules are the same, except, well, they're the same, but they're different. Second public comment is 3 minutes per person, 15 minutes total. However, the floor is open. You can speak about something that is not on the agenda if you would like. Again, please state name and address for the clerk. Okay, very good. Next is board member comment. Floor is open to board members. And president comments are none? And I'm going to need adjournment.
I just want to say that I'm coming up on the end of my first year. It's been a true learning experience. We've certainly been through a lot, ups and downs, but I have certainly enjoyed serving my community. And I feel we accomplished a lot this year. We have a lot more transparency. We seem to have a good rapport, again, with the community. I feel like I'm approachable by anybody from staff or community, and I look forward to serving my next 2 years, honoring the community, the staff that works very hard in this district, and most of all, the students who I adore. Thank you.
All right, since we're doing everything twice, now that we're at board president comments, I will have one. Just so everybody knows, the next meeting is the reorg meeting. It's July 10th at 7 o'clock, but it will be in the, what do we call it, the high school chorus room. Should be a little cooler than the sauna we're currently in. With that said, I need a motion to adjourn. Deb? Do I have a second? Deb? Jeremy? Any discussion? All in favor? Very good. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.